Hi everybody, I'm former Derby County midfielder Adam Murray from WhatCulture.com.
And I'm Andy Cleary. Coming up for you today, Braun Strowman has fixed the tag team division.
King Corbin, it's happened.
We're getting a rematch at Hell in a Cell, yes, another one.
Backstage update on who ran last night's episode of WWE Raw.
And finally, there has been a shocking reveal about the identity of a long-hidden, long-secretive WWE superstar. This is the news.
Anyway, today's lead story, it is a big one. AEW first TV episode, Brandon Cutler versus MJF. Of course, that's not our lead story, although it is a story, I guess.
So I missed that on the run notes.
Last night's Raw, lots of stuff happened. We are going to recap it all the most newsworthy stuff. The biggest story I think coming out of the whole show is that Rusev is bloody back, isn't he? Hasn't been seen on TV in God knows how long. I think the last match he had was that 50-man Battle Royal, which was actually a 51-man Battle Royal at Super Showdown. Before that, his previous appearance was when he was doing that wacky tag team with Nakamura in April. But basically, he was back on last night's Raw. It started when Maria Kanellis was hosting a gender reveal party for her child, the child that she is currently pregnant with. She revealed it was a boy. All these wrestlers were backstage. It was really quite crap, to be honest. Yeah. She tried to say to husband Mike that Ricochet was the father. This led to Mike slapping Ricochet. They had a match. Ricochet beat Mike. Maria came back out on the mic, said, "I was only trying to motivate you. Actually, the real father is..." Dun, 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 dun. Rusev comes out, does his thing, looking real jacked, baby, looking lean, looking ripped. Beats Kanellis, beats Mike, and obviously doesn't beat Maria, she's pregnant. Beats Mike in like 25 seconds, puts him in the accolade, taps out. But I think the most noteworthy bit of all of this is the Tom Selleck stuck to Rusev's face. Porno Rusev.
Shagger Rusev is such a huge move. I thought you were going to say the most notable thing about it was after all this time and how beloved Rusev is, the crowd went, what?
What is this angle?
Yeah. I know we've we want an edgier product. We want to get away from PG. Maybe just move to TV 14. Yes, tune in next week to see who Maria Kanellis alleges she has slept with. That's bad. That's not good at all. However, I did say this to Sidgwick, you could flip it on its head slightly. What if instead of it being tune in next week to see who Maria Kanellis alleges she has slept with, what if it's tune in next week to see who else Rusev has been plugging backstage? Because I would be all over that as a weekly segment. Yeah. Rusev smash. Rusev smash guy. That would be it for me.
I am all here for porno Rusev, man. Rick Rusev,
Rusev.
Mike Lavlett called him Bobby Rusev. It's good stuff. I am totally up for him smashing his way through the locker room. Drake Maverick's next, I imagine.
I would imagine so. He'd wear him like a little hat, wouldn't he?
Would he? Oh man, I mean, yeah, this is it's a really weird situation because we're all really happy to see Rusev back. Obviously, he's awesome, he's great. The mustache is the best thing I've seen in a long time. Let's hope it lasts longer than Robert Roode's mustache did. But this was just a really weird angle. I think on Raw at this stage, we're now seeing the best of Paul Heyman's stuff and some of the other things that are going on the show, and the worst of Paul Heyman's stuff with this Kanellis angle coming back to life after being kind of missing from TV for a few weeks, maybe even as long as a couple of months. It's weird, but it was, technically not good or whatever. And people are going to say,
strictly speaking, not good.
People are going to say it was terrible and all this stuff. It was still kind of entertaining in a so awful it's funny kind of way.
Speaking of the best of Paul Heyman and the worst of Paul Heyman, guess who got these hands last night on Monday Night Raw? The entire WWE Tag Team division. Because as we all know, Braun Strowman, they've never quite pulled the trigger on him having a serious long-term run with a singles belt. But every now and then, he comes along and he makes the entire Tag Team division look like a complete joke. But it was fine because last night they wrestled the belts back off him, and it was another dawn of Tag Team wrestling in WWE, where another genuinely great tag team were going to start having great matches. They were going to get better airtime. They were going to do what we long wanted the company to do for ages, and that is recommit to tag team wrestling. I'm joking, of course. Braun Strowman came out and he buried both the Raw Tag Team Champions and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions as part of this big tag team summit. You had Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, or Rudolph as we're officially calling them, and the Revival showing off their nice shiny new belts. But then, of course, Braun came down and made all four of them look like tiny, shriveled, cold dicks. Yeah. Why do they keep doing this?
Yeah, this was really terrible. I think this is my fault, actually, because we said...
Your fault.
We said on a podcast yesterday, how does Braun respond? I said that he should come down and he should beat a lot of people up or smash something up.
He did, yes.
I didn't mean the tag team champions.
Andy.
I meant the Ascension
Andy.
or the B team or whatever. This just.
If you don't specify your fantasy wish list booking, WWE will give you the worst possible version of it. We've been through this.
Yeah, this wasn't great.
It's nice for Braun. We wanted him to come. We did say it's good for him to come down, beat a lot of people up, re-establish himself, because he's lost twice on the same pay-per-view, which is not good for somebody of his alleged dominance. So yes, have him come down, have him beat up people, that makes him look very strong, but. Don't not with the tag team division.
Yeah, don't sacrifice your champions, brothers. It's kind of a shame. Hopefully the tag division can mount some kind of recovery of all that. Seems fanciful at this stage. I like Braun. I love Braun, in fact. I'm glad that he looks strong, but it's a shame that those people had to die for his hand.
It's even weirder because we heard all in the run-up to this that the whole reason Rude was being put in this tag team picture with Ziggler was because Paul Heyman was very hot on him, wanted to give him something meaningful to do, and despite there being an odd tag team and it being a bit of an odd choice to have them get the belts, we're like, well, fair, that's what they're doing. They've got this idea, they're sticking to it. Maybe if Bobby Roode does get to do something, it's good for the tag team division. And his first night as champion, he just eats a lot of boots and he eats a lot of fists
and then runs away.
Runs away. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to more positive content. Let's stop moaning. Let's talk about something really cool that happened on Raw. I am, of course, talking about the ascension, finally, of King Corbin. Everybody want to cut the legs off him. Corbin, tall man, taking no losses, as Kendrick Lamar famously rapped. He defeated Chad Gable in a really good King of the Ring Finals match. Again, Baron Corbin coming through with another awesome TV match. It's almost like he's actually good now, and the bit we were doing about King Corbin is no longer a bit. Anyway, this came off really well. Corbin looked fantastic. He's adapted his style. He's moving away somewhat from the chin locks and the boring stuff. He still does a few of them, but not so much. He looks more like a hard-hitting, obnoxious bully in these matches. Gable was phenomenal as well. Bumped like a maniac, threw his body all over the place, trying to get Corbin over as the heel victor. I thought it was really good stuff, and tonight on SmackDown we are getting King Corbin's official coronation. He's going to have the crown, the scepter, the cloak, all of the bollocks. I think that's going to be really great, really obnoxious. I can't wait. I love this. I love that he won. King Corbin. We
said yesterday on the Raw Preview podcast, can you already consider the King of the Ring a success ahead of this match? And we said it does very much depend on how it ends. If we get a great match out of it to sort of like put a nice exclamation point on all of the great wrestling we had and to help us forget about this sort of really mangled, weird sort of semi-final, quarter-final stage of it. And this was an absolutely fantastic match, which does beg the question, why was it pulled from the pay-per-view? It was really good.
It made Raw better.
It made Raw better, admittedly, yes. And as much as I'm dead against the idea of you win King of the Ring, you've got to go around pretending you're a king because it's been done so many times, it's become so lame. I think the amount of piss Baron Corbin will boil telling everybody he's the king and they must do what he says because he's the king, and if you don't do what he says, he's the king, he's going to beat you up, will be absolutely worth it 10,000%. So yes, King of the Ring now officially a huge success for me, and I really hope they give Gable something to do after this rather than just be the runner-up.
Can't wait for WWE's next pay-per-view, the Corbin headlined Kiss the Ring.
Well, speaking of WWE's next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell is almost upon us because the next WWE pay-per-view is almost always upon us because there's so goddamn many of them, and we have the two, probably the biggest matches of the night we're going to get already confirmed as of last night. Now, the finishing segment of the show, which we'll get to in a little bit, so The Fiend standing tall over Seth Rollins. We now know we are definitely getting the WWE Universal Championship match between the reigning champion Seth Rollins and the best thing they've had in goddamn forever, The Fiend. And despite me saying it's way too soon for any of this, I am starting to come around to it because I'm already excited, and it's been the little promo we got at the start of the night was really good. The finishing segment we got at the end of the night was really good. I can't be sniffy about it anymore. We're getting it, and I'm going to enjoy it for what it is. But we also got a rematch for the Raw Women's Championship. Sasha Banks will be taking on Becky Lynch inside Hell in a Cell. And the segment they set this up with, I have to point out, even though it featured Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and Bayley and Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, probably Nikki Cross came out of this looking better than anybody. She had to basically do most of the match as a handicap match. She looked excellent. She looked really smooth in the ring. Bayley and Sasha both got loads of stuff out of her. And then Becky came down to make the save after she was getting wailed on with a chair. Then Charlotte came down to make the save. It was all a big mess. And in the end, they challenged each other to a rematch. And Becky did the old, I want you inside Hell in a Cell. And that's
bloody. Scottish now.
Yeah, we're getting that now. We had feared that they would somehow drag this out, not actually give us a Hell in a Cell match, and then wait for TLC and then give us a chairs match instead. But no, we're getting Hell in a Cell, and this is good because Sasha was in the first one, and it kind of underwhelmed a little bit. I think people were a little bit disappointed with it. This could be better because it feels like more of a feud going into this.
Yeah, the problem with that match was that they took the long-running Charlotte-Sasha feud and kind of took the match away from being this bitter, bloody, feud-ending war inside Hell in a Cell and made it all about making history and all this other nonsense. And it was a real shame that it went that way. Becky versus Sasha feels heated enough for the structure. I think they will do an excellent job. I also think that it's a great fit for Bray Wyatt's new character, The Fiend, inside Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins. The closing angle was really quite good last night as well. We'll talk a bit more about that later, but kind of like The Fiend like lurking over thing, like
just
some
everybody.
kind of he was like some kind of hard breathing laughing pest guy.
What's come out with this for me is that because they kill most of the house lights, and obviously like modern photography's changed so much in the last couple of years that like it can do much better with like the ambient lighting and the natural lighting. You know, photos tend to look professional regardless of where you take them now. When they kill the house lighting and the photographs of the Fiend have to be purely lit by flash, they look like they're from the 90s. Like they look otherworldly. I just like them. I like them. Seek them out.
It's good stuff.
That's my take.
There is another story. I've forgotten what it was. I've remembered what it was. So last night's Raw. Last night's Raw. No sign whatsoever backstage of Vince McMahon, Triple H, or Kevin Dunn. Not one of them was there. Vince McMahon, Lord knows where he was. Triple H was apparently away sorting out NXT stuff in Orlando. Kevin Dunn, I don't know, probably had a dentist appointment or something. Rich coming from me, I know. But anyway, this begs the question, who the hell was running Raw in that case? The answer, according to Pro Wrestling Sheet, Paul Heyman did the whole goddamn thing himself. Who's pulling the strings? Paul Heyman ran the show. Might have been one of the reasons why it was such a wacky episode. There was lots of good stuff, lots of bad stuff, but the bad stuff was kind of hilarious, so I can forgive it, because if it entertains me, I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's the scoop. I mean, cool. Paul Heyman, I think since he came in as executive director, a lot of us would look at Raw's quality and say, yep, that's gone up.
Improved, yeah, massively.
It's all subjective, of course. Some people might disagree. But it's good to know as well that he can now seemingly helm a whole 3-hour mammoth show on his own without the chairman, without Triple H, without Kevin Dunn. It's good stuff.
It's a bit of an odd one, that, because, all right, fair enough. If the story was Vince and Triple H were in there, Paul Heyman was running, I'd be like, all right, cool, fair enough. He's probably the next in the hot seat for that. You know, he's run these things before, he knows what he's doing. But Kevin Dunn's head of production. He's the one who sits there and does all the zoom-ins. Paul Heyman sat there with his headset on, talking to everybody in commentary, going,
some guy sat in for Kevin Dunn.
Where's his praise?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, his name was actually in the original write-up, but because I am an idiot, I forgot to write it down.
Wait, hang on. Phil wasn't in yesterday. Phil literally does that job for Defiant. Oh my God, we've lost Phil.
Christ.
Well, move on.
He's got a no-compete though, so.
Oh, he bloody well better have. Anyway, speaking of a no-compete, this is a bit of an odd one, because obviously you remember Kane from your childhood, right? One of the scariest wrestlers in WWE history.
It's been a while since we've seen him.
He had a big mask on, and he was, you know, nobody knew his identity. He was meant to be the brother of The Undertaker. It was all quite shrouded in mystery and Paul Bearer and all of this. And eventually he was unmasked by Triple H on an episode of Raw. And then eventually he moved into a more corporate position within the company, started helping out the authority, basically calmed down a bit from all that I set people alive patter, and then just got himself a proper job. He's been away from television for a long time since, right? And in what might actually be one of the most shocking reveals the company has ever done, do you know who Kane actually was all this time?
Isaac Yankem.
No.
No?
Mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs. They did a bit last night where R-Truth went and saw the Mayor of Knox County. Fair enough, they were in Knox County. That made sense, right? Oh. And then he won and lost the title back. And you're like, oh, it's a funny segment, that. That's a really funny segment. He's gone and done that bit with a politician. Anyway, Kane appears at the end of the night, and it's revealed that that is Glenn Jacobs. I don't know whether that's a flub they've made in commentary, because they only said it was him. But
they must have made some kind of mistake, because I heard
they're both big guys, like.
Yeah, but like, Glenn Jacobs doesn't wear a mask. He's not from hell. He's not a demon. He's a politician.
Well, I don't know.
What are you on about?
I don't know what the particular laws are in America, but I don't know if you could stand for Congress or anything like that if you are also Hell's favourite monster or something. I don't like.
The devil's favourite dude? Yeah, nah. Like, I don't think Mayor Glenn Jacobs is capable of.
That's got to be a mistake. So is the story here that they've made a massive flub on commentary?
I see no evil with this storyline.
This is a bit of an odd one. Yeah, Answer's on a postcard for that one.
Cool.
Well, I don't know. No other way. You said, sorry, what was they? Yeah, they finished the last segment of Raw last night. Kane came down, cleared the ring, saved Seth Rollins, who was getting a beating from all the heels. So Kane came down, saved him to an extent. It was like, oh, Kane, I do all this thing. And they kind of forgot about all the horrible bad blood he's had with Seth Rollins all this time. Really impressed how long we managed to milk that out for. And then at the end, because he loves beating up on legends, out came the Fiend and he wailed on Kane. He mandible clawed him to within an inch of his life and ended the broadcast being lit from the bottom, looking all sinister and scary and standing tall. And it's made me officially really excited for this program now, although I wasn't before at all. Yeah, it was really good stuff. They did a really great job of presenting the Fiend and Wyatt throughout the entire show. He was everywhere. He had multiple Firefly Funhouses, including one that saw him unveil this wall of friendship with everyone he's murked before. I have one of them at home, but it's people who've murked me.
I've seen that thing before. It's
big,
weird.
It's big.
I've lost my train of thought again. But yeah, it was good. That's all.
Yeah, that's the bottom line with this. Everything they do with the Fiend at the minute is excellent. Nice to see Kane Jacobs back for one night only. Also nice to see him do a little bit with the 24/7 title, because does that officially make Kane the first person to hold both the 24/7 championship and the WWE championship?
I guess it kind of does.
It's a legitimate belt now in my eyes. It has a rich storied lineage, and apparently this is R-Truth's 16th title reign.
16th title.
Yes, meaning he now equals Ric Flair.
He's rivaling Raven for ridiculous title reigns. I think he has like 24 hardcore title reigns. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Twitter questions. Let's buzz through these because I think we've been in this room for half an hour already. Sorry, boys. First one comes from Miss Blue, who asks, do you guys think that there could ever be a female Undertaker, and is Rosemary of Impact the closest thing?
I don't think there could ever be another Undertaker, regardless of gender, because if you think... part of his initial aura and his mystique was always this spooky, supernatural, is he dead or is he not? I took the Big Show out into the desert and may or may not have touched him inappropriately gimmick. And that kind of, as we sort of moved into this more sports entertainment-y world, more slightly less kayfabe sort of era, that kind of held true because it was still so much of it was everybody's childhood. So you remembered it and you were willing to let him get away with the whole lightning and the smoke and everything. It was kind of, it just fit. I think you would have real problems right now trying to introduce another character who has supernatural elements to them. You get away with the Fiend because it's just like, it's horror movies and we're used to horror movies, but when you try and have this like, I don't think you'd ever have another Undertaker, but if you did, cool, make it a girl, why not? Yeah, no, I think it'd be a very interesting role, although Impact with Rosemary recently and Su Yung have proved that supernatural stuff doesn't always come off that well in the modern era, so they'd have to be very careful. However, perhaps someone in that role as just kind of this spooky, non-speaking badass who only shows up every now and then to kick ass, I think that's a good idea. Me too.
Let's move on. Let's go to Grande Andrade, the former Fat Momoa, a legend of the channel, asks, with 4 Bray Wyatt segments on this week's Raw, how long will it be before they run the Fiend into the ground with oversaturation?
I reckon genuinely it's so good it can get away with the end of the year.
End of the year, I'm happy to go with that.
If they keep going with... You can tell right now they've given them total creative freedom of it, but now, you're in the title picture. You're going to do 4 segments a night because they're really good, because when you've got something that's good, we must just do more of them all the time. And that's how people think money is made, when in fact, actually, no, it is not. But I think that there's such goodwill with this, they can get it until the end of the year at the very least. Depends what they do with the title. I think if he wins it, they got to be very careful with how they pick his next opponent, because... as with any wrestler, you are one good feud away from people thinking you are brilliant and one bad feud away from people thinking you are tired old shtick.
Yeah, totally agree. Couldn't agree more. Nothing to add.
Yes.
Next question is from Dina, another legend of the channel, asks, do you think that there is a way WWE could book this title feud between Seth and The Fiend in a way that doesn't derail Bray's momentum since returning, or turn Seth into the proverbial sacrificial lamb?
I think you can have one of those. I think either the way you don't derail Bray is you have him win, and the way you don't turn Seth into a sacrificial lamb is you have him win. And you can't have them both win. I mean, they try to extend this feud unnaturally, I think, with Becky and Sasha by not having... I mean, it felt a really hot, self-contained, I'm back, I want that. There wasn't really a blood feud in it, although they were trying to make it personal. It needed a one-and-done match. Yeah. And now they're trying to make it, you blood hitting everybody with chairs, get us inside the cell, please. I really hope this is a whatever way it is, I hope it's a one-and-done. If Seth beats him, cool, he's superhuman. Move him on to somebody else and you've killed The Fiend. But if The Fiend wins, cool, Seth, he's got nothing left to prove to Seth.
The thing with WWE is that they're really often incapable of doing the whole getting over and defeat thing. They're not good at that at all. which leads me to worry about what might happen to the person who loses. However, I think The Fiend has more to lose in defeat and therefore should go over.
I think genuinely, the way it looks right now, if The Fiend loses, it'll be one of those things that gets brought up in years and years and years to come as, why the hell? He was so hot, why did he lose that match?
Yeah, and
so hopefully they don't do that.
That'd be a real shame. We don't want this to become another Bray Wyatt versus John Cena situation. And finally, kind of struggling for an final today. Not a lot of banter flying around the office.
Not a lot of banter flying around the office. Nothing on the internet.
So, what I've done is gone down a pretty reliable step here. Had a look at Oni Lorcan's Twitter account, which is always a good thing.
I saw this actually.
And yeah, he's tweeted more gold, hasn't he? So I'm going to read this in the style that he tweets, which is, of course, all caps yelling. Back in 2001, I was in negotiations with a backyard wrestling federation about coming in as the old school superstar, and all my moves would be old school and my own old school championship, but it was far away and my mum wouldn't drive me as she thought it was weird. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That got me that because, that happened to me once.
Yeah. Relatable.
And they were going to get me in as the old school guy, but it was too far away, and my mum wouldn't drive me.
The old school superstar with the old school moves and the old school championship belt.
That's my mum, actually, not me. So shout out, Angela.
Shout out, Big Mama Cleary. Anyway, shall we sign off?
Yeah, let's do that.
Usual spiel, podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. That's where you can send us questions.
Yes.
Hashtag this is the news. Hashtag good after news. We will be back in the afternoon actually for another news video. There's lots of stuff going on today. Just not banter related, news related, content related. Anyway, you can follow this fine gentleman on Twitter at
Adam Cleary, CLERY.
And you can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hold this W.
Oh, right, yeah. I didn't know where you were going to go with that one last time.
Hold it.
Thank you very much. There we go.
Good.
Good.
See you later.
What do I do with this?
Hold it, mate.
Bye.
That's fucking weird. Oh, okay, cool.
Stop.
Yep, that was long.